Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video. So it's the start of a new week. If you're new here, my name is Gemma and me and my fiance James run a reselling business selling vintage and luxury vintage clothing and accessories and everything, and we like to share what our daily and weekly reselling life is like. So as I say, it's the start of a new week, so it's Monday today. Yesterday we had quite a quiet sort of Sunday, went out, got some bits and bobs like with like food shopping and things like that, which was quite nice. Another thing that I did, I think if you've seen some of my last videos, you'll have seen that I've been trying out a bit of sewing. So using vintage clothing or vintage fabric, repurposing it to make it into something new. So I'll quickly show you what I actually was working on last night. So I'm making a patchwork puffer jacket, so I'm starting to make the actual patchwork fabric just now, so I'll quickly show you that, and also what we have sold, which we were about to just kind of go off and post just now. So this is kind of what I was working on yesterday, so for my first piece of like patchwork fabric. So I've got a mixture of like brown and red, or like dark red cord, and then obviously different sort of colours of like floral fabrics. So yesterday I was putting all these pieces together. I'd cut them out previously, and so I'm going to be making a few big pieces like this so that I can cut out obviously the pattern pieces to make the puffer jacket. So that's one piece down. My plan for working on that this week is this piece here is for the back bodice piece. So the back piece of the jacket that goes across your back. So I need to be making another two pieces of big bits of fabric like this. One for the sleeves and then one for the two front pieces. Once I've done that, I can actually then start, putting it all together, and I can actually start stuffing it to make it like the puffer effect of the jacket. So yeah, so really excited to be getting on with that. I really would like to do a bit more of the sewing this week, so put a bit more time into it so that I can actually hopefully get the jacket done even in the next couple of weeks, so that I can actually get a good wear out of it over the rest of like the autumn and winter. And as always, Chester loves sitting on anything square that's on the floor. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, that have cats, that if you put anything square on the ground, whether it's a box or a bit of fabric or something folded up, they always go and sit on it. So yeah, yesterday when I had my fabric all laid out in the columns, he came over and was like kind of sitting on it all and then kind of messed it all up, and I had to keep on fixing it. But yeah, anytime I put anything square on the ground, he decides just to try and kind of sit and lie on it. So this is a piece that we've sold last night that we're just about to post off just now. So it's a V-neck Adidas, vintage Adidas sweatshirt. Really nice. I love the detail on this. It's got like the sort of three stripes on the sleeves, grey, black and white, and it's got the Adidas logo embroidered on the chest. So yeah, really nice piece, nice big size as well. So we're just about to get that packaged up and posted off. We actually sold another item this morning as well. It was one of our vintage purses. I think it was the Vivienne Westwood one. However, we're still waiting on the person paying for it. So obviously we can't send it off or anything like that until it's paid for.
Hello.
So yeah, so we're kind of hanging off to see if the person would pay for it before we took it out to the post office, but they haven't yet. So that'll probably have to be maybe go out later on if they pay for it, or tomorrow, which is fine. So yeah, so we're just about to package this up. Now, this piece that we've sold today, I think I've mentioned before about different things that we're trying and get things sold a bit quicker. So relisting things. So once things have been up for like a few weeks or even a couple of months and they haven't sold yet, it's really good to kind of take those listings down, maybe change the pictures a little bit, change the description, the title a little bit, and then relist them, because it kind of bumps them up on Vinted and Depop and things. So this Adidas sweatshirt is actually something that I just relisted yesterday, and I had a little look on ChatGPT to see what it sort of suggested for like little tips that it suggested for trying to get things sold quicker, like different things that I could try apart from relisting. And obviously it did suggest, exactly what we were doing, like changing the photos and things like that and relisting items. But it actually said if something's not sold, to then when you do relist it or when you do sort of revise your listings, is reduce the price by about 10%. So for this sweatshirt, that's exactly what we did. We reduced the price by about 10% and relisted it again. Sort of adapted the photos a little bit as well, just so they looked a little bit different. And then reduced the price, as I said, by 10%, and it sold like right away. The person didn't even send an offer, they actually just bought it at the price it was listed at. So that's definitely something I would try if you do have items that aren't selling or that are taking a little while to shift, is when you're relisting them or revising your listings. I would actually recommend just relisting them, to be honest with you. I think I did read somewhere that it's good to kind of reduce the price without relisting, but then if your items have been listed for a couple of months, then they might not get seen. It's only going to be the people who have maybe favourited the items that will actually get notified of the price drop. So, and if you've already sent them an offer, they're probably still not going to buy it. So I would personally just relist it, and then as I said, relist it and reduce the price a little bit. And it doesn't even need to be anything crazy. As I said, 10%. I mean, this jumper, I think I ended up reducing it by, I want to say 50 pence or something, but that was enough to kind of get somebody to buy it. So in our last video, we shared about our stickers that we got made. So obviously, because this is a bag, we're not going to put a sticker on the box. So what I thought would be quite nice would be to actually cut one out and stick it in the bag to go along with our business card. And on the back of the sticker, I've actually written a little thank you note with the discount code that we're giving sort of customers who have bought from us. So we're going to stick that in the package as well, along with our business card, just as a little thank you. So it's a few days later since we last caught up, and we are now on Wednesday during the week. So I think when we last spoke, we were dropping off a package at the beginning of the week. So we're actually going to drop off something else that we've managed to sell. So it's a Lacoste, vintage Lacoste sweatshirt. So I'll show you that in a little second. It's a really, really nice piece. And today we've eventually gotten our bed delivered. So I think I mentioned in a previous video that we were rearranging our box room, which is where we keep a lot of our stock for our vintage and all our vintage and luxury pieces. So we've emptied that out. We managed to we got our bed delivered yesterday. And it's one of those beds that's got lots of storage and everything underneath. So the plan is to make up the bed and then to put in the storage underneath all, or as much as we can anyway, of our stock, so that it's kind of out the way, but it's somewhere nice and tidy and safe and things like that, and obviously it keeps it nice and clean. So yeah, so that's the plan today, is to get all that built up. Fingers crossed, hopefully it's not doesn't take too long. Get this package dropped off. And yeah, so one of the other things I kind of want you to talk about in this video, but maybe come to that a little bit later on, is a few things that we've been trying this week to try and boost our sales. So the piece that I actually sold today, or last night, should I say, the Lacoste sweatshirt that I was talking about, that is something that I actually relisted. So I've mentioned before about relisting things, making sure to kind of tweak maybe the titles, the pictures and things like that before you relist them, so that it's, you're refreshing your listing. So that is actually a piece that I just listed last night, and I think it was sold within a couple of hours. So that's kind of proof that that method does work. So this is the piece, the Lacoste sweatshirt that I was talking about that we've just sold. So I absolutely love the colours of the sweatshirt. So as you can see, it's got the white body, it's got kind of like a beige colour on the sleeves, and then it's actually got like a really light blue and white pinstripe kind of panels down the side, and then like a little zip detail, and then obviously the Lacoste logo embroidered on the chest. So it's a really, really nice, thick, heavyweight sweatshirt. Obviously the colours are really good for spring, summer, but obviously you could wear it in the autumn, winter as well. And it's actually, the size of it is quite a unique size. It's a triple XL, so it's quite a big size. Hi everyone, so as you'll see, I'm somewhere a little bit different than where I normally film. So I'm sitting in the car just now, just waiting on James. He's just at an appointment. So it's later on in the week, it's Friday. I think the last time we caught up, I was about to build up the bed for our spare room, because we've emptied it out and we're going to be reorganising all our vintage and luxury stock and everything in there. So once we're done with James's appointment and head back home, that's the plan for the rest of today. So I'll definitely show you what we do with our stock, how how we organise it, how we keep it all nice and tidy, but so that it's easy to find things and everything as well. I'll also update you on the progress of making my vintage puffer patchwork jacket. So I've made another load of patchwork fabric, sat and sewed that together last night, and I'm wanting to make one more piece of fabric, sort of the section that's going to be for the sleeves, and then I can actually start cutting out the pattern pieces and start sewing it together and adding the stuff in to make it all nice and puffed. So really excited to get on and do that. I really kind of want to get that made quite quickly over the next couple of weeks, because I want to be able to wear it as much as possible. And I forgot to also mention it's Halloween today, so you can probably, it's actually a really rainy day, you could probably hear the rain hitting off the car, because it started to rain quite heavily after we got in the car, so it's always nice and cozy, I think, when you're sitting in the car listening to the rain. So yeah, so tonight our plans, after we've done our rearranging and a little bit of work and stuff, the plan is we're actually going to head to one of our local cinemas to go to a secret Halloween screening of a movie. So we don't know what movie it is, that's part of the fun. So you've booked tickets, and it's definitely going to be like a Halloween scary movie, but we don't know what it is we're going to see. So we're sitting talking about that before James got out of the car. Don't know if it's going to be like a slasher kind of movie, more of a supernatural spooky movie, or if it's going to be like an old classic Halloween movie or a newer one. So don't know what it's going to be. Really, Chester? That's where you decide to lie? You quite comfy there? Hi everyone, so it's the next day and we're actually just about to post off a couple more packages of things we managed to sell yesterday. So one of the things isn't actually a vintage item, it's actually just something that I had a little bit of a cupboard wardrobe clear out. But the other piece we've got is actually a vintage item that we've had for quite a while and we've just listed it. So I'll just quickly show you that just now, and then we're going to go and post those off. So this is the item here that we managed to sell. So it's a Reebok windbreaker style jacket, a vintage one. Really nice kind of colourway. It's that kind of turquoise with it's actually got turquoise panels and then kind of like a blue piping around it, which I didn't actually realise. And then it's got the Reebok logo embroidered on the chest, and obviously with it being a windbreaker it is lined inside, so it's got the kind of nice soft fabric lining inside, and a nice kind of lightweight jacket, really good for spring summer really. But listed it just yesterday and managed to sell it. The only thing is it does have a couple of marks kind of like on the cuffs, and obviously made sure we shared that in the listing and everything, and but it sold really quickly anyway. So yeah, I think I mentioned that before, when you're selling things that have maybe flaws or imperfections or anything like that, as long as you're upfront about them and show pictures, and usually what I do in the description is I kind of direct people to which pictures actually show the flaw so they can totally see very clearly what it is. People are usually pretty, still happy to buy the item, obviously as long as the price reflects that. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. So yeah, we're just going to get that packaged up along with the other item and get those sent off today. And then I think I did mention yesterday that I was going to show you our box room. Now that it's all arranged and everything, we managed to get that all sorted, and all our stock away, so that's all done, so I'll update you on that. And also I wanted to share a couple of things that we've been trying this week to try and kind of just get a few extra sales, so just like little changes and things that we've been trying, so I'll share those later on as well. So I thought I'd give you a little update of our box room. We've obviously made up the bed and we've managed to get all our stock stored away under the bed because it's got a lot of storage, and get everything else sorted, so we now don't have any of the stock in our bedroom, because previously we had a lot, the two big massive boxes of stock, and then obviously things hanging up in our bedroom. So I'll just quickly show you what we've done, and it's actually a really good storage solution if you do want to sort of store stock for anything, but you also want to keep like a spare room with a bed in it as well. So this is our spare bed that has been made up. It's a single bed. We do have some bits kind of still here that if anybody does come and stay, we will obviously take it out. But obviously James's job needs all this equipment. He's a musician, so we do kind of need somewhere to store it. So at the back corner, we've actually got our boxes which we had previously, which have a lot of our smaller items there. They're just little plastic kind of boxes, and we've got all like the little bags and purses in there. And then we actually have everything else in these drawers underneath the bed. So we've managed to fit everything in these drawers. So we've got a couple of drawers with bags, inside, as you can see there. And then we've got a couple of drawers with clothing and things there as well. So I wanted to share some of the things that we've been trying out to try and sell some of our items, especially some of our items that have been sitting for a little while. So I have mentioned before about relisting things, so deleting a listing from the likes of Vinted or Depop and then just uploading the listing again, but then tweaking the name of the item and even tweaking the images. So that is something that I definitely still recommend doing, and we have been doing that. And actually some of the things that we have been selling recently have been newly listed items. Now a lot of these suggestions have actually come from ChatGPT, so what I basically just did is explained our business and then kind of said for some advice and tips on how to sell things, like just things we could try to try and sell things a little bit quicker. So another thing it suggested, I'm going to quickly look at my phone and just to remind myself, was about using the platform like algorithms to our advantage. So for example, I'll deliberately list things on the likes of Vinted and Depop in an evening, so rather than for the day, because it means that people are more likely to be on their phones and see it really quickly. And as well, the weekends is always a really good time to list, so like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because again, that's when people are more likely to be on their phones and looking for things on these platforms. Another thing that I tried this week, which worked really well, was when I did list an item, especially if it has been something that's been sitting for a while, is to reduce the price a little bit. And you don't have to reduce it by much. I mean, ChatGPT says to actually reduce it by about 10%. So I did that, you know, took maybe £1 off or whatever roughly 10% was, and that actually resulted in a couple of things selling like that. So not even people sending offers or anything like that, people just buying it outright. And another thing, going back to what I did for like listing, like really thinking about when you're listing things, is especially for Vinted, and I suppose Depop as well, I tried to make sure and list at least one thing per day, so that our shop was constantly listing something each day. So instead of like listing 10 things in one go on one day, spread it out over the week and list 1 or 2 things per day. And that really helped as well, kind of push our shop up the algorithm. And I did notice that the things that we were then listing later on in the week were getting a lot more views a lot more quickly, and yeah, ended up selling things, which was great. So I think that's going to go ahead and round up this week's video. So if you found the video interesting or useful, make sure and click subscribe and turn on the notifications as well, so you don't miss any future videos, and we'll see you in our next one. Bye just now.